Many were surprised by the recent Supreme Court ruling on U.S. affordable care legislation. Here to help us sort out the decision and its impact on the insurance industry is Dr. Robert Hartwig, president of the Insurance Information Institute. He was recently named a living legend by National Underwriter magazine and joins us now by telephone. Dr. Hartwig, welcome back.
Very glad to be here.
So, Bob, can you summarize the ruling by the Supreme Court?
Well, the Supreme Court decision, which was a tremendous landmark ruling by the court, probably the most important decision in many years, effectively is going to rewrite how we handle the healthcare system in this country, which accounts for more than 10% of this country's GDP. Effectively, what the court did is uphold the Affordable Care Act as passed by Congress in 2010. So as such, it was a tremendous victory for President Obama. And in fact, the decision by the court was far more on the side of President Obama and the administration than many would have expected, with Chief Justice Roberts siding with the court's liberals in this case. So basically, the most controversial issue, that of the individual mandate, which many conservatives had argued was unconstitutional, was in fact upheld by the Supreme Court. And if you decide that you're not going to purchase insurance, that in fact there will be a penalty if you don't make that purchase. This is in fact a tax. And he argued that the authority to tax is within the authority of Congress, and so therefore it is not unconstitutional.
So what happens next?
Well, there is no higher court of appeal. There is no court for any of the opponents of this plan to go to anymore. The Supreme Court has ruled. The next test, effectively, is the presidential election in November. And this is probably the last chance for Republicans and those who oppose this plan to radically alter it. Governor Romney has, despite the fact that he's one of the originators of a plan like this back when he was governor of Massachusetts, has vowed to repeal this plan. Most conservatives believe it as an unacceptable intrusion of government into the private sector, and they are campaigning in the November elections, and the repeal of Obamacare, as it has become known, is one of the planks there. If the Republicans lose in November, it's my opinion that effectively the American Health Care Act will become permanently enshrined in the law. That would mean the president will be in office for 4 years while the vast majority of the law is implemented. At that point, again, it would be 2016 before we have the next election, 2017 before a new president is actually in office. It would be virtually impossible to substantively repeal the law at that point because tens and tens of millions of people would already be beneficiaries, and politically it would probably become very difficult.
Dr. Hartwig, thank you so much for joining us.
It's very much my pleasure to be here.
If you'd like to see more of my discussion with Dr. Hartwig, including his assessment of the healthcare legislation and what it means to individuals, businesses, and the insurance industry, view the other segments in our on-demand library.